How to Create a Glitch Monologues Season 30 Chapter 2. This is Season 30 of How to Create a Glitch in the Matrix Monologues Episode 2. In this episode, we will be talking about the rejection of integration and the transmigration from conjoined consensuality to dissonant consensuality. In meeting the expectations of the tonic, before meeting one's own expectations, the self exists in a conjoined consensuality, broken into a dualistic pairing of self and shadow self. That is to say, the experience of dissonant consensualities requires that a part of the self be extinguished, the part that belongs to the other. For in the death of one's consensual self, is the beginning of the experience of one's impulses from outside oneself. Since one's conjoined consensuality is the reality of others, this means that they experience the death of one's consensual self as a true death. For in the denial of one's self, comes negation of self, and the transmigration of one into a dissonant space. This means in practice that the consensual self, the parallel reality in which our conjoined consensual self exists, must terminate. That is, to others, in the consensual space, one's negation of self manifests as his death. Thus, it is not unusual in the transition to the dissonant space, to observe clues of wreckage and catastrophe. For the self as it dies in the conjoined consensuality experiences death, which is real, as far as the other is concerned. Thus, as one transitions to the dissonant space, one may see the evidence of such a death, in the form of the ordinary signifiers of such an event. One may hear ambulance sirens, or see ambulances nearby. Now, in the dissonant space, one's reality is not a truly conjoined reality. Which means that the dissonant realities created in the shadow of one's dissonant space, such as provided by the full expression of one's impulses, as would occur in integration, are in fact emblematic of the conjoined consensuality. One is in a kind of bubble universe, a space of exclusion, wherein one will find one's aims and expectations divorced from the extension of one's consensuality. Which is to say that one is trapped in a kind of dissonant prison, a space of non-intersection, of inoperability. That is to say, that what one experiences in this state, is rather like looking up from beneath the ice in a lake of water. One thinks that the reflection one sees is real, but it is only the cold barrier preventing one from stepping into the breath of real air. Now, thus, the act of bringing someone to accept integration, is the act of drawing someone back into the self created by the other. Giving life to the negation, again. For accepting the expectations of others again, is rather like stepping into a bespoke suit, created out of the fabric of one's impulses, which entails their expression and complete integration of both sides of self. Thus, to reject integration is to truly choose death, not figuratively, but literally, and one's existence becomes rather like that of a ghost, existing in a dissonant space which is not truly real, but rather reflects the negation of one's self. In fact, choosing between living life and living death has never been more true. In the moment one shirks integration, one becomes a ghost to the living. Thus, the dissonant consensuality which has become home for some, belies the conjoined reality parallel to it, which others experience. This may be revealed, in part, by the curious way that people seem to know everything about that dead self. It may be revealed by the odd way they seem to fixate on it. It may be revealed by the incongruous things that they say, and how completely different others' experiences of what has occurred in the moment are from one's own perspective. These are side effects of the underlying separation negation causes, the death that results in the conjoined consensuality, and the living slumber represented by its aftermath. That's the end of the podcast for today. If you enjoyed it, please like, comment and subscribe.